Spooky season is upon us, so let's go ahead and talk horror books. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about all the books that I'm hoping to read in October. I have right here my September TBR, which, it looks like I have managed to get to quite a few. However, purple was the color code that I used for all of my physical books, and it was supposed to be my priority. So please tell me why these are almost all purple. The month is not over. I am hoping to get through at least one or two more of these before it ends. But anyways, let's go ahead and talk about the books that I'm hoping to read in October. I have them all here with me, and I'll be adding them to the jar as I take you along them. First, we have Ring Shout. Yep, this one. Okay, so it's going right into the right into the jar. Ring Shout is by the same author as A Master of Jinn. I honestly know nothing about the book. I'm going to go ahead and read the blurb with you guys. But just the fact that it's by the same author of A Master of Jinn, and I'll talk about it more in my September wrap up. I ended up also reading the other three little novellas in a Dead Jinn's Universe, I believe it's called. And I just love his writing. So when I discovered that he had a horror book, I immediately added it to the list of the books I want to read this following month. Let's go ahead and see what it's about. All I know is that it's horror. So, I mean, just the cover itself looks pretty scary. And from the cover, I think I know what this might be inspired on. His other books are also a bit of a twist on historical fiction. So let's go ahead and see. In America, demons wear white hoods. In 1915, the birth of a nation cast a spell across America, swelling the clan's rank and drinking deep from the darkest thoughts of white folk. All across the nation they ride, spreading fear and violence among the vulnerable. They plan to bring hell to earth. But even Ku Kluxes, this is why I struggle so much with fantasy and could never read books out loud because I have no idea how to pronounce that. But even Ku Kluxes can die. Standing in their way is Maurice Baudereau. Sure, let's go with that. That's how I'm going to be pronouncing her name in my head. So, and her fellow resistance fighters, a foul-mouthed sharpshooter and a Harlem hellfighter. Armed with a blade, bullet, and bomb, they hunt their hunters and send the clan's demons straight to hell. But something awful's brewing in Macon, and the war on hell is about to heat up. Can Marie stop the clan before it ends the world? Okay, I'm excited for this. I know I love the author's writing, so I have high hopes. It has really good reviews. Oh, people are saying the audiobook is really good. I have it as an ebook. However, I might go ahead and try and get it as an audiobook if possible, and I might just bounce back and forth between the two. I'm not gonna lie though, I feel like audiobooks will make it 10 times scarier. I feel like a horror narration will definitely give me nightmares. So we'll see. Next on the list, we have The Gathering Dark, an anthology of folk horror. I have this as an audiobook, and I believe this is one of two horror anthologies I have on my list. I just think getting through some short stories might be a great way to dip my toes into the horror genre and see what I like, see what I don't like. Apologies if the angle changed. May have had an accident where I almost broke my phone, but all good. So, The Gathering Dark. Let's see what Goodreads has to say about this book. A cemetery full of the restless dead. A town so wicked it has already burned twice, with the breath of the third fire looming. A rural, isolated bridge with a terrifying monster waiting for the completion of its summoning ritual. A lake that allows the drowned to return, though they have been changed by the claws of death. These are the shadowed, liminal spaces where the curses and monsters lurk, refusing to be forgotten. Hauntings and a variety of horrifying secrets lurk in the places we once called home. Okay, I mean, that sounds great. It also sounds like I'm gonna be really scared, so we'll definitely be doing little reading vlogs here and there for October just to take you guys along my fear. Next, we have our only nonfiction, I believe, and this is All the Living and the Dead by Haley Campbell. This book was recommended by Rachel, a model who's right here on YouTube. I love her channel and I love her taste in books. However, this is not a horror book. This is a nonfiction written by a journalist who takes along this 3-year trip that she did across the US and UK, interviewing people who have dedicated their lives to death. From embalmers to detectives to crime scene cleaners to executioners to grave diggers, through people who work in crematoriums, homicide detectives, just a bit of everything. And the book asks, why would someone choose a life of working with the dead? It's a topic that I find very interesting. Is that weird? I have always been very much intrigued by death. I feel like the majority of us are, right? And so I'm really excited to learn more about it. I feel like if I need a little bit of a break from all the horror, but still want to stay in that same genre or vibe of for October and just like death, then this might be a great nonfiction to learn a bit more about all the people who work with the dead. I'm intrigued and I'm ready to learn a lot more about the topic. Once again, I have this as an audiobook, so adding it to the jar. Next on the list, we have My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. This has been highly recommended by both Carrie from Carrie Can Read here on YouTube and Emily from Books with Emily Fox. I trust both of their recommendations with my life, and anything they recommend and I have read, I have loved. There might be like one or two in there that we might disagree on, but from what I've heard, this follows a more classic horror trope storyline. Let's see what Goodreads has to say about it. Abby and Gretchen have been best friends since 5th grade, when they bonded over a shared love of E.T., roller skating parties, and scratch and sniff stickers. Do you guys remember scratch and sniff stickers? What happened to those? But when they arrive at high school, things change. Gretchen begins to act different. And as the strange coincidence and bizarre behavior start to pile up, Abby realizes there's only one possible explanation. Gretchen, her favorite person in the whole world, has a demon living inside her. And Abby is not about to let anyone or anything come between her and her best friend. I love this. I love this already. With the help from some unlikely allies, Abby embarks on a quest to save Gretchen. But is their friendship powerful enough to beat the devil? This might be one of the first ones that I read. It just sounds like such a fun read. So yeah, adding that to the jar. Next on the list, we have Never Whistle at Night, an Indigenous dark fiction anthology. This has multiple authors once again, since it's a collection of short stories. Indigenous people believe that one should never whistle at night. This belief takes many forms. For instance, Native Hawaiians believe it summons the spirits of ancient warriors, and Native Mexicans say it calls La Lechuza, a witch that can transform into an owl. But what all these legends hold in common is that certainty that whistling at night can cause evil spirits to appear and even follow you home. These wholly original and shiver-inducing tales introduce readers to ghosts, curses, hauntings, monstrous creatures, complex family legacies, desperate deeds, and chilling acts of revenge. I'm so excited to read this, and the Lechuza spirit mythology, whatever you would call that, is very interesting because I have heard people here in Costa Rica say that you shouldn't whistle at night, and now I'm very intrigued to ask one of my aunts or something what exactly it is that people believe or used to believe here about it. I just love folklore and learning more about it. I also need to ask my mom exactly what it was she used to tell us, but it was something about never holding a candle in front of a mirror because it would open the door to the spirit realm and let them come through, and you couldn't control which ones came through and if they were good or bad. So she would never let us hold candles in front of mirrors when we were little. And when we were little, the electricity would go all the time, so we'd have to light candles. And I remember her covering all the mirrors with like blankets so that we wouldn't hold them. So yeah, I'm excited to read more about Indigenous folklore and just little short stories that maybe mirror each other across different cultures. Going in the jar. Ooh, in the jar. Okay. Next on the list we have Earthlings. I have been really wanting to read Earthlings. One of you guys recommended it in one of my previous videos, so thank you for reminding me of it. I have read another book by the author, Convenience Store Woman, I believe it was called, and I did really enjoy it, so I already know that I like her writing. However, I have been putting Earthlings off just because I've heard it's one of the weirdest, most disturbing, and absurd books out there. So, I mean, great for this challenge, right? Great for October. Let's see what it says. Natsuki isn't like the other girls. She has a wand and a transformation mirror. She might be a witch or an alien from another planet. Together with her cousin Yu, Natsuki spends her summers in the wild mountains of Nagano, dreaming of other worlds. When a terrible sequence of events threatens to part the two children forever, they make a promise: survive no matter what. Now Natsuki is grown. She lives a quiet life with her asexual husband, surviving as best she can by pretending to be normal. But the demands of Natsuki's family are increasing. Her friends wonder why she's still not pregnant, and dark shadows from Natsuki's childhood are pursuing her. Fleeing the suburbs for the mountains of her childhood, Natsuki prepares herself with a reunion with Ju. Will he still remember their promise, and will he help her keep it? So not what I was expecting for some reason, but it sounds really intriguing, so I'm excited to be reading that. Going straight into the jar. That's an ebook that I have, and all of the reviews just make me more and more eager to read it, but I'm also a little bit worried. The cover is also just really cute. Why is there a little hedgehog on the cover? Will we find out in the book? You might have to stick around for my October's wrap up to see if the cover makes sense. Next on the list, we have Chlorine by Jade Song. This has been on my TBR for such a long time, and I honestly don't know why I haven't gotten to it. I have this as... Do I have this as an ebook or as an audiobook? I think I have it as both. So we'll see which one. If I end up liking the narrator, I might just listen to it, but we shall see. From what I remember, I think this has to do with mermaids. Maybe I'm thinking that just due to the cover. Let's go ahead and see what Goodreads has to say. Ren Yu is a swimmer. Her daily life starts and ends with the pool. Her teammates are her only friends, her coach, her guiding light. If she swims well enough, she will be scouted, get a scholarship, go to a good school. Her parents will love her, her coach will be kind to her, she will have a good life. But these are human concerns. These are the concerns of those confined to land, those with legs. Ren grew up on stories of creatures of the deep, of the oceans and the rivers, mermaids. Ones that called sailors to their doom, okay, sirens. Ones that dragged them down and drowned them. Ones that feasted on their flesh. Ones of the creatures that she always longed to become, mermaid. Okay, what is the difference between a mermaid and a siren? I thought sirens were the ones that called sailors to their doom. Looks like I'm gonna have to update myself between mermaid and siren mythology. She dreams of the scent of chlorine, the feel of it on her skin, and she will do anything she can to make a life for herself where she can be free, no matter the pain, no matter what anyone else thinks, no matter how much blood she has to spill. Okay, so I'm guessing she's gonna do some sort of weird ritual or something to turn herself into a mermaid. We'll find out. Hopefully. All right, and last but not least, we have Hell Followed With Us. I don't know why I wrote it twice. This is by Andrew Joseph White, the same author as The Spirit Bears Its Teeth. I have barely read any horror, and that's why I am making it a challenge for myself to read more this coming month. I think I can count in one hand all of the horror books I've read, and I'm thinking of making a video at some point in October going through all the horror books I have read, and one of them is The Spirit Bears Its Teeth by Andrew Joseph White. I did quite enjoy it. It was a bit spooky at some parts, so I thought, why not read another book by the author? And we have Hell Followed With Us. I believe this is the only one in the list that is young adult. Well, maybe My Best Friend's Exorcism would also be considered young adult. The main characters are high schoolers, but prepare to die. His kingdom is near. 16-year-old trans boy Benji is on the run from the cult that raised him, the fundamentalist sect that unleashed Armageddon and decimated the world's population. Desperately, he searches for a place where the cult can't get their hands on him, or more importantly, on the bioweapon they infected him with. Okay, but when cornered by monsters born from the destruction, Benji is rescued by a group of teens from the local Aitson LGBTQ plus center, affectionately known as the ALC. The ALC's leader, Nick, is gorgeous, autistic, and a deadly shot, and he knows Benji's darkest secret. The cult's bioweapon is mutating him into a monster deadly enough to wipe humanity from the earth once and for all. If you guys can hear my sister in the background, I apologize. She's working from home today. It's a small apartment. Where was I? Still, Nick offers Benji shelter among his ragtag group of queer teens, as long as Benji can control the monster and use its power to defend the ALC. Eager to belong, Benji accepts Nick's terms until he discovers that ALC's mysterious leader has a hidden agenda and more than a few secrets of his own. A furious queer debut novel about embracing the monster within and unleashing its power against your oppressors. I didn't know this was his first book. Okay, I'm excited to read it. I did really enjoy his other one, so not at all what I was expecting, but I'm really excited. And yeah, those are all the books that I'm hoping to read in October. Of course, I also have my little book club with my friend, so I think we're gonna try and get through the Raven cycle in October. And I'll definitely be filming a vlog of my reaction to the 4 books. That might not be coming until November though, because it's gonna be a lot to edit, but I'm really excited for this month. I would have never thought I'd say that I'm super excited to read horror, but here I am. Oh, and last but not least, just as a little bonus, I may or may not reread In a Dark, Dark Wood. This is one of the only horror books I have read. However, I read this maybe 5 years ago, if not longer, and I cannot tell you anything about it. I was planning on unhauling it, but I thought I'd give it a fair chance and try it one more time just to see if I like it or not before I get rid of it, because I could not tell you anything about the plot. I might read this, I might not. We'll see how many books I actually managed to get through. Counting the Raven Cycle series and all the ones that I just spoke about, that makes up around 12, 13 books. Will I actually be able to get through all of them? Only time will tell. I don't think I managed to get through all the ones in September that I was planning to read, so we shall see. But I'll give it my best shot, and I'm excited to read some more horror, guys. If you have any other recommendations, let me know your favorite horror books. I know I don't have any Stephen King in here, or just like more classic, famous horror books. I wanted to jump into the horror genre in a bit more of a beginner-friendly way, and I thought these books would be best. I don't know if I can jump into a Stephen King novel. They're also as big as my head, and I have big book fear. So if I'm missing out, however, please let me know what are your favorite horror books down below, and I'll add them to my list. And I think that's that on that. Go ahead and like the video and subscribe if you're excited to see what I think of all these books I talked about, which hopefully I will end up reading this month. And I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are. I'll see you in my next video.